Part 10. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 93. Chapter 93 Plan, Monthly Ticket 280 Plus. Seeing that her son refused without thinking at all, Chi's mother was furious and said angrily, "You are incompetent. This girl's uncle is the leader of the factory in the city. There are people who want to curry favor but can't. Why are you doing this, Tian Tian, that little vixen? Are you stupid to give up such a good opportunity?" Chi Jiangguo took 2 steps back to avoid his mother's spittle from splashing on his face. "Mom, don't be angry yet, please listen to my explanation." Chi Jiangguo saw his mother trembling with anger and quickly comforted her, but he couldn't make his mother sick because of this matter. Chi Fangfang hid and eavesdropped from behind. As she expected, her elder brother disagreed. Chi's mother picked up the remaining water on the table and drank the remaining water. She drank it down and said angrily, "Okay, tell me, I want to hear why you don't want to. If you can't tell me why, I will accept this marriage for you." Seeing that his mother was serious this time, Chi Jiangguo thought about it carefully and then said slowly, "First of all, it's not safe in the city now. Even the leaders in the factory might have something happen. Don't talk about a little person tomorrow. The second point is that my second uncle asked me that there will be a quota for college admissions in our village next year, and I am the only high school graduate in our village. As for the young people in the city, although it is possible, but there are qualified people in our village, so there is no need to give the places to young people in the city, so it is a certainty that I will go to college next year." Can you really go to college next year?" Chi's mother hesitated. If her son could go to college, he might find a girl from the city or province in the future. "Yes, if you don't believe me, just ask my second uncle," Chi Jiangguo said. "There is also a third point. Although that girl has a good job, she is ugly, and her face is covered with pock marks. It looks scary." Chi's mother didn't believe it and asked, "No way, your aunt just said there were a few pock marks on her face." Chi Jiangguo looked disgusted and said in disgust, "Auntie's words are unreliable. It's not just a few, but dozens. Anyway, when I first saw that girl, I only remembered that she had a lot of pock marks on her face." He didn't even pay attention to her facial features. Chi's mother knew that her son was not a liar, but she didn't believe that her eldest sister would lie to her. She thought for a while and said, "I will go to the county town to ask your aunt about this matter in a few days. If it is really what you said, forget it. Lest you look down on her and be unable to live with her, and cause a lot of trouble. When the time comes, we don't have the advantage of the woman's family, and the loss will be returned to our family. But there are connections in her family, and if we refuse like this, will it be wrong? Okay. If there's anything wrong, just say that I already have a partner," Chi Jiangguo said. "Just wait for 2 years, when you are older and more stable, we will get married." My aunt didn't know, so she made this big fuss oolong. Chi's mother saw that her son had even thought up the reasons for his rejection. She could reject that person without offending anyone. It was obvious that she really didn't want to accept this scrutiny, so she had no choice but to give up. After hearing this, Chi Fangfang quietly returned to the house. Although it was expected, she was still very disappointed and lost another opportunity to go to the county seat. However, Chi Fangfang remembered what her eldest brother said. He could go to college next year and maybe have a better future in the future. As the eldest brother's only sister, he will definitely take care of her. Just as Chi Jiangguo was about to go back to the house, Chi's mother called out to Chi Jiangguo and said, "Jiangguo, you will be a college student in the future, so even if He Tian Tian is a city girl, she won't be good enough for you. After all, you will stay in the city in the future. And He Tian Tian has been farming in the countryside." Chi Jiangguo didn't worry about this. After all, He Tian Tian was from the city and could leave Kijia village whenever he found an opportunity. As for him going to college, It's not that he is no longer worthy of He Tian Tian, but that he is a better match for He Tian Tian. Mom, I know, don't worry, I will definitely find you a good daughter-in-law. Chi Jiangguo didn't want to argue with his mother about He Tian Tian, because he could see that her mother was already very angry. I dislike He Tian Tian very much and can't stimulate her anymore. As for He Tian Tian, there will be many opportunities in the future. He will gradually become a man that He Tian Tian admires. When the time comes, it will be a matter of course for him to embrace the beauty. That's good. You can wash up and go to bed early. Chi's mother felt a little more comfortable when she saw her son being submissive. Chi Jiangguo washed his hands and feet, returned to his room, and lay on the wooden bed. He tried many ways to get close to He Tian Tian through his sister and make her like him, but this method didn't work. He thought again and asked his sister to lure He Tian Tian into the trap in the back mountain. Then he would act as a good guy and come to save the beauty. However, He Tian Tian was very alert and did not dig the trap he had worked so hard to dig. He also thought about forcing He Tian Tian to follow him while He Tian Tian was mowing grass alone in the back mountain. These methods flashed in Chi Jiangguo's mind more than once, especially the last one. After seeing He Tian's tact, I was worried that if he got tough, He Tian might go all out and sue him. At that time, he will be a criminal and will be sentenced to ruin his good life. He Tian's toughness prevented him from using this method rashly, so he could only settle for the next best thing. The last way is to use He Tian's identity to defeat He Tian and make her the target of criticism. In this case, he might have a chance to take action. He saw some women in the county or other villages being criticized for having unkempt hair and covering their faces. They were very pitiful. However, this method is the simplest, most effective, and most importantly, very safe. He won't end up getting burned. From the last time he framed Village Chief Chi, he saw that there was a high possibility of success, and the price he paid was very small, just a letter and some benefits to Zhou Hai. Hey, how could that little sweetheart suffer such grievances? Chi Jiangguo murmured to himself, thinking of He Tian's beautiful face and never forgetting it. Chi Jiangguo did not deny that his mother just said that He Tian was a little vixen. He Tian is the vixen in Chi Jiangguo's heart, and he will never forget her. He felt like a man only when He Tian was in his mind, so no matter what, he tried every means to get He Tian, marry her and have children. Chi Jiangguo got up and washed his hands. Under the moonlight shining through the window, he showed a perverted and sinister smile that was determined to win. He Tian, it's not that I, Chi Jiangguo, don't care for you or love you, it's just that you are too disrespectful, forcing me to use the last resort. Although I will suffer at first, I will love you well and compensate you in the future. It takes a long time to type every day, but it only takes a few minutes to read the book, which shows the author's hard work and efforts. Readers are also asked to support genuine subscriptions so that Kikai can continue to do this work and write more simple and interesting stories. Monthly tickets will be available at 2 p.m. later for 300 plus. Finally, please vote for me. Oh, mathematical intersection symbol. Mathematical intersection symbol, thank you. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 94. Chapter 94 The Male Protagonist's Explosive Appearance, Monthly Ticket 300 plus. Chi Jiangguo has already deduced some information about He Tian based on the letters from He Tian's parents and that hateful friend. After careful consideration during this period, he has obtained a lot of useful information. He Tian, you can never escape from the palm of my hand again. With this obsession, Chi Jiangguo was in a good mood and fell asleep. He Tian didn't know that Chi Jiangguo had already weaved a vicious web and was looking for an opportunity to rain down on her. At this time, He Tian saw her parents in her dream, and also met the handsome, sunny, and cheerful Huo Yingjie. Huo Yingjie kissed her, and He Tian actually smiled happily. Very sweet. After a good night's sleep, He Tian Tian was in a good mood after waking up. Unlike He Tian Tian who was in a good mood, this was in a certain research institute. Huo Yingzhe was lowering his head, listening to the middle-aged ant director Lu preaching about the socialist concept of love. To sum it up in one sentence, that is what a great man said: falling in love without the purpose of getting married is just a hooligan. No wonder director Lu can only be an ant. A great man is a great man, there is a huge difference. The great man used only 15 words to summarize what director Lu said for half an hour. My girl is from the city now. I don't know when she will return to the city. You are so far away. It will be difficult in the future. You have to think clearly. Director Lu was persuasive. I have a niece. Huo Yingzhe's handsome and fair face turned red from holding back. On the one hand, he was angry because of Director Liu's words, and on the other hand, he was so suffocated that he didn't go to the toilet for 4 hours in the laboratory from morning to noon. As soon as he came out, he heard a colleague said that Director Liu came to him and asked him to get the letter. He knew this was a heartfelt letter from He Tian Tian, so he couldn't wait to go to the toilet and ran over to get the letter. Director Liu, please give me the letter quickly, your bladder is about to burst. After Huo Yingzhe finished speaking, he took the letter and ran towards the toilet. Ah! I haven't finished speaking yet, Director Liu, a middle-aged ant in menopause, muttered. Educated people are different. They just say it when they can't hold in their urine. They also say that their bladders are bursting. Others are generally uneducated. Yeah, I still don't understand what a bladder is. Hua hua hua. Accompanied by a swishing sound, Huo Yingzhe unconsciously let out a comfortable hoo-hoo. Just when Huo Yingzhe was halfway through, a head popped out of a squatting pit next to a partition and teased. I wanted to continue talking, but suddenly I curled my lips, envious. Being stared at by a man like this, Huo Yingzhe was so frightened that he quickly turned his body and turned his butt towards the person. Zhou Yuanxiao, get out of here, Huo Yingzhe scolded. He must protect little Yingzhe. He also wanted to give birth to a few more babies with Xiao Tiantian before the birth control plan started. Anyway, he is very capable and can make money, so he is not afraid of not being able to support him. Hey, I'm complimenting you, Zhou Yuanxiao said with a smile. He usually likes to joke. Besides, come on, it's not going to break in your face, it's going to break in your mouth. Huo Yingzhe is not old, but he also has a good mouth. If he is condescending and suffers a loss here, wouldn't he be sorry for the Institute's #1 lover? Name. Successfully shut up the poor mouth Zhou Yuanxiao. This time of peeing, there was quite a twist in the middle, and the peeing took longer than usual. Huo Yingzhe fastened his trousers belt carefully, without looking at Zhou Yuanxiao who was blushing and thick-necked. He just said at the door, I heard there is braised pork in the canteen today. Is there braised pork? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Zhou Yuanxiao stopped squatting, wiped his buttocks, picked up his trousers, tied his trouser pockets, and walked out. Aren't you constipated? Huo Yingzhe squinted at Zhou Yuanxiao. He had 100 ways to punish this bastard, Zhou Yuanxiao. Although the two are good brothers, they will never be lenient when it comes to cheating. Zhou Yuanxiao muttered dissatisfied, constipation is nothing, let's eat braised pork first. If you don't eat to press it down, you can't even pull it out. After saying that, he ran towards the cafeteria in a hurry. Where was the rude man who was squatting in the toilet just now, his face red and his neck thick from holding back? Huo Yingzhe washed his hands slowly, took out the neatly folded handkerchief in his jacket pocket, wiped his hands, folded the handkerchief and put it away. If Zhou Yuanxiao were still here, he would definitely wrinkle his nose and call Huo Yingzhe a sissy and unreasonable. When they arrived at the cafeteria, Zhou Yuanxiao was holding 2 lunch boxes, looking at Huo Yingzhe with resentment in his eyes, accusing, didn't you say there was braised pork? Look, This is obviously braised eggplant with too much soy sauce. Zhou Yuanchao, who hated eating eggplant the most in his life, felt that his constipation was getting worse. Ah, Huo Yingji pretended to be surprised, it looks exactly like braised pork from a distance. I'm sorry, I didn't see it clearly. While Zhou Yuanchao was putting rice into his mouth, he complained, did you do it on purpose, brother? Of course Huo Yingji said, this is what you said. Since we are brothers, give me some of your national food stamps. Have you sent food stamps to your little one again? Zhou Yuanchao asked. It seems that this kind of thing has happened more than once. Huo Yingji nodded and said, yes, we eat in the canteen and can save a lot every month. I want to send it to her so that she, a little girl, will not have enough to eat in an unfamiliar place, Huo Yingji said worriedly. Not only sending food stamps, but also sending money. He already had 30 yuan, so he would send 20 yuan to He Tian and leave 10 yuan to spend. You are a grown man, but you don't drink or smoke. If you don't have any less parts than me, I would have suspected that you are a woman, Zhou Yuanchao complained. He and Huo Yingji lived in the same room, and he always lit and smoked by himself, standing at the window, taking 2 puffs of cigarettes facing the bright moon. Smoking and drinking can't be eaten. Next time you get up in the middle of the night to smoke secretly, I will definitely kick you out, Huo Yingji warned. He doesn't smoke now, and doesn't want to breathe in other people's second-hand smoke. Hey, you are also infatuated. Look at our research institute. There are so many good girls staring at you, why do you stare at your childhood sweetheart and don't let go? Zhou Yuanchao asked puzzled. He was very puzzled by Huo Yingji's style of seeking far away from the near. It was typical that he gave up the whole forest for a small sapling. Huo Yingji paused for a moment with his chopsticks in his hand, as if he was confessing, and said with a slight melancholy, once you let go, you can never find it again. Ah, you are indeed a love saint, I admire you. Zhou Yuanchao bowed and said, I can't figure out what's going on. Maybe he hasn't experienced love yet, doesn't know the taste of love, and doesn't judge. Huo Yingji smiled. He can hold on to the hardship now. As long as that person is safe, everything will be fine. This is a monthly ticket of 300 plus, and there will be a monthly ticket of 320 plus at 6 p.m. The scene of the male protagonist's appearance, it's exciting. Haha, the title party crawled away with a pot lid. Before leaving, please vote and subscribe to the genuine version. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 95. Chapter 95. Niu Lily was a big help, monthly ticket 320 plus. After Niu Daijin finished delivering the letter, he returned to the county seat to pick up new letters and packages. At noon, my stomach growled with hunger, so I rode my bicycle to the restaurant where my cousin worked. They really are a family. Niu Lily asked the chef in the kitchen to order a bowl of noodles for Niu Daijin. It not only contained vegetables, but also a lot of diced beef and noodles. The full bowl was enough for Niu Daijin to eat. Niu Daijin ate a large bowl of hot beef noodles, sweating on his forehead. He was no longer hungry, and his body was warm. Niu Daijin took 3 taels of food stamps and 2 cents and gave them to Niu Lily. Niu Lily is not polite to her cousin either. This restaurant does not belong to her family, but she can make the decision and give her cousin more money, but she has to charge the money. When Niu Daijin was about to leave, Niu Lily took her cousin. It was not lunchtime and there was no one else around. She said carefully, Brother Daijin, I remember you brought a girl named He Tian to our place for dinner before. Although they only met once, Niu Lily has a strong working ability and an amazing memory. She remembered that Niu Daijin once brought He Tian and Chi Xiaoyan over for dinner. Yeah, What are you asking about? Niu Daejin was confused and didn't understand why his cousin asked this. That time I happened to meet my good brother's sister, so I invited my good brother's sister Chi Xiao Yan and He Tian Tian to have dinner with me. Niu Lily nodded, confirming that what she had secretly heard before was related to He Tian Tian. Since we know each other, I'll tell you, Niu Lily whispered. Yesterday, a young man about 20 years old invited Zhou Hai from the commune to dinner. He mentioned Kijia village, He Tian Tian, and some overseas relations, Nanchi. Overseas relations. The Niu army was horrified. Those with overseas connections were living in unrest these days. I heard that many traitors were caught. Can you tell me more about it? Niu Daejin asked hurriedly. He Tian Tian is Chi Xiao Yan's good friend, and after getting along with him several times, He Tian Tian is a good person, well educated, and serious in doing things in Kijia village. If it is a pity to be persecuted for this matter. Niu Daejin often comes to the county town. He has heard about Zhou's Huerhe, a character with ruthless methods. Of all the people in Zhou Hai's hands, few can survive, let alone a young girl like He Tian Tian. Niu Lily shook her head and sighed. I would like to listen more carefully, but I still have to serve food to others, so I can barely hear this. Based on my experience, that young man is very familiar with Kijia village and should be from Kijia village. Tell Zhou Hai that this matter has something to do with He Tian Tian. Since we are friends, you should quickly go to Kijia village and inform He Tian Tian. She is more aware of her family's affairs and may understand what it means. Niu Daejin thought for a while and felt that his sister was right. He nodded and said, Lily, you are right. That is our friend. Although we can't help much, small things like informing people may be able to help a little. The sooner you get the news, the better you can find some countermeasures. Niu Lily reminded, be careful, don't expose the secret. If Zhou Hai or the informant in Kijia village finds out, you will also be in trouble. It's okay to help others, but Niu Lily doesn't want her cousin to get her involved. I know, Lily. It just so happened that the company commander sent a letter. I sent it to Uncle Chi. Niu Daejin agreed, then suddenly paused. Lily, do you remember what that person looks like? Niu Lily thought for a while, thought carefully, and said, that person's hair is longer than ordinary people, and he is wearing a hat. He has no eyes, his chin is a bit pointed, his lips are thin, and his skin is quite white. Then can you identify the voice? Niu Daejin asked again. There were 2 reports in Kijia village. Could it be the same person? Last time it was Secretary Chi, why did it change to He Tian Tian this time? He Tian Tian, this girl, works hard and hasn't offended anyone in Kijia village? Niu Lily shook her head in embarrassment. I can't explain it. There were a lot of people eating that day and it was noisy. I only vaguely heard these words. Plus Zhou Hai is not a good person, so I felt that something was wrong. Then I understand. If you have anything to do in the future, you must tell me. I'll ask first and talk about it later. After Niu Daejin finished speaking, he rode his bicycle and rushed to Kijia village. Niu Daejin came to Kijia village without stopping. Niu Daejin sent the letter to the village branch. Secretary Chi went to get the letter and took Niu Daejin to his home for dinner. Chi Xiao Yan was also at home, and Niu Daejin asked Chi Xiao Yan to call He Tian Tian over and tell He Tian Tian something. Daejin, I see you look pale. Is there something going on in the county? Village Chief Chi is an old man, and he can tell at a glance that Niu Daejin is panicked. Niu Daejin wiped his sweat and said, Uncle Chi, my cousin is a staff member of the commune hotel. She saw a young man in his 20s reporting to Jojo that He Tianation's family in Nanchi has overseas connections. Just so I want to give you just come here and say something. I suspect this young man may be the one who reported you last time. Secretary Chi was stunned for a moment, smoking his pipe and thinking about what Niu Daejin said. After a while, Secretary Chi raised his head and said, You're right, Maybe that person is the person who reported me last time. That person reported He Tian Tian this time, but the situation at He Tianation's family has been even worse. We don't know. How did that young man know? Niu Daijin shook his head and said, we have to wait until Xiao Yan takes a photo of He Tian Tian and asks her carefully to see if she has told anyone else about these things. After a while, Qi Xiao Yan came over with He Tian Tian. When Tian Tian heard that Niu Daijin looked familiar, she squinted her eyes and gritted her teeth and said, I seem to know who reported me. Who? Village Chief Qi, Niu Daijin, and Qi Xiao Yan asked at the same time. Everyone thought that the person who reported He Tian Tian and Village Chief Qi might be the same person. Qi Jiangguo, He Tian Tian said angrily, this villain. Village Chief Qi was stunned again and asked, how did you know it was Qi Jiangguo? Couldn't it be someone else? He Tian Tian bit her lip, lowered her head and said, do you still remember that Qi Shulai secretly hid 2 of my letters before? In fact, those 2 letters were not secretly hidden by Qi Shulai, but by Qi Jiangguo. Ah, Qi Xiao Yan was shocked, then Qi Jiangguo was rejected by you and wanted to report him to frame you. Village Chief Qi looked at He Tian Tian with deep meaning, this girl is not simple. Not wanting Village Chief Qi to misunderstand, He Tian Tian said, Qi Jiangguo once blocked me on the road several times and confessed to me, but I have a childhood sweetheart in my hometown. I have clearly rejected him, which may have made him angry. That's one. Second, Qi Shulai said that the letter was at the village branch, so let's go there first. In fact, the letter was not at the village branch, but at Qi Jiangguo's place. I once secretly saw Qi Shulai rushing to Qi Jiangguo's house to get the letter. Speaking of this, Qi Xiao Yan said in surprise, it turns out that person was accountant Qi. At that time, he said he had a stomachache and went to the hut. It turned out that he was going to Qi Jiangguo to get a letter. Monthly pass 320 plus is given. Continue to ask for monthly tickets and genuine subscriptions. I recommend my friend Kunji's novel The Plan to Save God. There were once 3,000-year-old diamond bachelors in the fairy world. The handsome Yunshui god, the Feng Shen, walked around Ruoshui 1,000 years ago and took on a female disciple. 100 years later, they got married and had a feast for all the immortals. The alienated and indifferent god Chi Mu traveled around the wilderness 500 years ago and took on a female disciple. 100 years later, they married and feasted on all the immortals. Now, the only one left is the best among monsters, God Ziu. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 96. It turned out that not only she saw Qi Shulai that day, Qi Xiao Yan also saw it. He Tian Tian nodded and said, this is the conflict between Qi Jiangguo and Qi Shulai that I came to Qijia village. Again, my grandfather once studied in M country, but after returning to China, the relationship with foreign countries was severed, and my parents also actively cooperated with the organization to write self-criticisms, and have been forgiven by the organization. My parents only wrote once in a letter, and I never told anyone else, so the person who knew about this matter was the one who reported me, either Qi Shulai or Qi Jiangguo. Brother Daijin just said that it was a man in his 20s who informed Zhou Sihai of the commune, so it must be Qi Jiangguo. He Tianation's analysis was very reasonable. Secretary Qi, Niu Daijin, and Qi Xiao Yan listened and felt that it made sense. He Tian Tian became more and more angry as she spoke, and her body kept shaking. Qi Jiangguo was bullying too much. Sister Tian Tian, don't worry, we will slowly find a way. Seeing that He Tian Tian was shaking with anger, Qi Xiao Yan hurriedly comforted her and looked at her father, hoping that her father could help He Tian Tian. Village Chief Qi was powerless to do anything about He Tianation's family affairs. However, if Qi Jiangguo wanted to act like a hooligan, Secretary Qi would not tolerate it. Tian girl, pay more attention to safety when you are alone in the future. I don't know how to help you with your family's overseas connections, but in the territory of Kijia village, if Chi Jiangguo wants to bully you and act like a hooligan, I will be the first to not forgive him, village chief Chi promised. He Tian knew that even if she was angry to death now, it would be useless. She had to be prepared before Zhou Sihai came to Kijia village. Secretary Chi might be able to protect her in Kijia village, but it would not work if she was out of the scope of work in Kijia village. He Tian took a few deep breaths to calm down her excitement, and then asked, "Thank you, Secretary Chi, I want to ask for leave to go back to Nanji." Village Chief Chi and Niu Daijin were both stunned and said, "Is it not appropriate for you to go back to Nanji now? What if Zhou Sihai comes and says you are absconding for fear of crime?" "I am not absconding for fear of crime, I will go back to Kijia village. My parents have been forgiven by the organization, so I want to go back to Nanji to get some certificates to prove that our family is innocent. With these certificates, even if Zhou Sihai comes, he cannot ignore the documents from Nanji." He Tian didn't want to sit there and wait for Qi Jiangguo and Zhou Sihai to succeed. Secretary Qi's eyes lit up and said, "You are right. We should find a solution from the root. Your parents are fine, so you, a good comrade, are even finer. Okay, go back and write a leave application, I will stamp it for you, and you quickly pack up some things and go back to Nanji. Also, the county magistrate is better off managing it now. You must find the unit in Nanji to stamp it. It would be even better if the director of the unit there personally writes an official letter." He Tian bent down to village chief Chi, and Niu Daijin bowed and said, "Thank you, Secretary Chi, brother Daijin, sister Xiao Yan. Go quickly. If you don't have enough money, I have some here. I'll give you some." Village chief Chi said that this time he would use He Tianation's incident to teach Chi Shulai and Chi Jiangguo, the ignorant uncle and nephew, a lesson. "No, I have money," He Tian said. "Brother Niu, the bus to Nanji is at 8 o'clock in the evening. Brother Daijin, can you ride a bicycle to take me to the train station? In this way, I can catch the train tonight. I know it's far and tiring, and I will repay you." Niu Daijin was full of black lines and scolded, "What are you talking about? You are Xiao Yan's friend, and you are my friend. What's the big deal about giving you a ride?" Chi Xiao Yan was very grateful for Niu Daijin's generosity. "Thank you very much, thank you very much." He Tian thanked him again and again, and then hurried home to get things, money and a few dried wild rabbits and pheasants in the space, all put in the package, and took out the clothes in the space, wrote a leave note, told Grandma Chi-san that something happened at home, and hurried back to Secretary Chi's home. Chi Xiao Yan made 2 bowls of noodles, the big bowl was for Niu Daijin, and the small bowl was for He Tian, each with a poached egg. Niu Daijin, He Tian was not polite, eating big mouthfuls. Secretary Chi has taken He Tianation's leave application and stamped it at the village branch. There are 2 copies, one for He Tian to take and one for the village head Chi in the village committee. There is also a letter of introduction with the official seal of the village branch. If you go out without this piece of paper, you can't buy a train ticket or stay in a guest house. Anyway, it's inconvenient. After dinner, He Tian sat on the back seat of Chi Daijin's bicycle and rushed to the railway station in the county. Niu Daijin used his connections to buy a ticket for He Tian, and it was a sleeper ticket. This is the importance of interpersonal relationships. Although it is a little expensive, it is very comfortable. "Thank you, brother Niu." He Tian thanked him. "If it weren't for you and village chief Chi, I wouldn't have made it this time. You are Xiao Yan's friend, so you are my friend. Don't say that again. You don't have to feel bad. My cousin works there. Tell me if you need a ticket next time." Niu Daijin said proudly, "It's 7 o'clock now. Let's go. I'll buy you some food to take with you on the way." Before, He Tian was anxious and didn't care, but now He Tian relaxed and heard the deep meaning in Niu Daijin's words. It seems that every time Niu Daijin helps her, he is very enthusiastic, but every time he says that he helps her because she is Chi Xiao Yan's friend. This seems to be beyond the scope of caring for the leader's sister, right? But thinking about Chi Xiao Yan's kindness and Niu Daijin's honesty, the two are 4 years apart in age, which seems to be quite suitable. Brother Niu, you don't need to buy it. I brought the money and I'll buy it myself. He Tian refused, and followed Niu Daijin to a cheaper place nearby, bought fried cakes and eggs, and filled a can of boiling water. Cost a total of 90 cents. He Tian refused Niu Daijin's payment, and Niu Daijin did not fight to pay. Thinking of how Niu Daijin was always scrambling to pay every time Chi Xiao Yan was around. Probably because he wanted to show off in front of Chi Xiao Yan. Thinking of this, He Tian laughed. Haha, this is good. As long as Chi Xiao Yan is not with Li Mingkai, but with any man, her destiny has changed. She will not commit suicide by jumping into the river again, right? Niu Daijin put He Tian on the train and waited for the train to leave immediately. He Tian shouted to Niu Daijin outside the window, "Brother Daijin, there is a package on your bicycle, and the things inside are for you. Thank you and Sister Lily for your enthusiastic help." "You're too polite," Niu Daijin said politely, and he was about to say something when he saw that the train was getting faster and faster, and it was pulling out of the train station. He Tian stretched out her hand from the train and waved goodbye. This is the first basic update today, and the second basic update at 10 o'clock. If you like this book, please vote for Kikai. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 97. No longer seeing the army of cattle, He Tian retracted her hand and turned to look at the environment in the sleeper room. In a small room, there are 2 rows of beds, with 3 beds on each row, for a total of 6 beds. Although it is crowded, it is still clean. There were 5 people in this room, and there was no one in the upper bunk opposite. The others were chatting and eating. Since none of them came from Daowen County, no one knew He Tian, so there was no need to say hello. He Tian was in a bad mood, so she climbed to the top bunk, put on her clothes and covered herself with a quilt, and put her small package, a military green crossbody bag, a water bottle and food inside. Before going to sleep, He Tian said something to the Snake King in the barrier, asking him to observe the surroundings and wake her up if there was any danger. He Tian is too tired and wants to have a good sleep. The train will arrive at Nanji at around 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and there is still a long way to go. The Snake King knew that He Tian was facing a big crisis now. He might not be able to help with anything else, but he could ensure that He Tian was safe along the way. Niu Daijin walked to the bicycle and saw a grey cloth bag on it. When he opened it, he found 4 dried hares and a pheasant inside. "Hey, He Tian's move is really generous," Niu Daijin said with emotion, but Chi Xiao Yan said that He Tian can hunt, so it's not surprising. He originally thought about giving something to his cousin who works at the train station next time. Now that he has something from He Tian, he borrowed flowers to offer to Buddha, gave Fa Xiao a dried chicken, and gave his cousin Niu Lily a wild chicken. Rabbit, he kept one for himself. The cousin Niu Lily who got the things was very happy. It turns out that a good person should be rewarded well. I hope He Tian can get through the difficulty. Because there was a personal bodyguard, Snake King, He Tian had a sweet night. He had no dreams all night, and woke up until dawn when he was suffocated by his own urine. He Tian carried her army green crossbody bag, got off the bed, went to both ends of the train to get hot water, and went to the toilet on the way. I simply washed my face and came back with a lunch box. On the lower bunk was a strong lady in her 30s. He Tian smiled and said, "Sister, can you sit down for a while? I want to have breakfast." The elder sister said cheerfully, "Sit down and eat together." He Tian took out a cake and 2 eggs from the package, and ate it with hot water. "Where are you going?" Sister Xinglang asked, eating pancakes and hot water beside her. He Tian whispered, "Go back to Nanshi to visit relatives." "Are you a young man from the city who went to the countryside?" the eldest sister asked. "It's not easy to go to the countryside at such a young age." He Tian didn't want to be looked down upon, so she smiled and said, "I look young, but in fact I am quite old." "Sister, what do you do?" the elder sister said with a slightly proud tone. "We are all model workers in Hawaii City, and we are going to the capital." "It's amazing," he Tian said with envy. "Being able to have a BJ is everyone's dream. I will work hard in the future and strive to become a model worker." Seeing that he Tian was very conscious, everyone treated her kindly and asked some questions about young people going to the countryside. He Tian is careful and picks everything up. By the time they got off the bus, he Tian was already very familiar with the elder sister. The contact information that the eldest sisters left for each other will allow us to interact with each other if we have the opportunity in the future. Although he knew that the chance of meeting next time was slim, he Tian still kept the eldest sister's contact information. Zhang Runan, that's the eldest sister's name, the workshop director of Huishi Tractor Factory. He Tian's sudden return was unknown to his parents. "It's already past 9 o'clock in the evening, it's dark outside, and there are no buses anymore." At this time, there were no private tricycles, and he Tian did not dare to walk home alone. Just as he was about to go to the guest house, the Snake King in the barrier said scornfully, "You idiot, what are you afraid of when I'm here?" He Tian slapped her forehead. How could she forget about the Snake King? He Tian is wearing a military green bag containing certification documents diagonally across her left side, and a military kettle across her right side. She is carrying a small package in her hand. It is not heavy at all and she can run home. "Thank you very much, Snake King," he Tian thanked him. Snake King is really a must-have product for home and travel. Okay, go home quickly," the Snake King said impatiently. "I haven't had a good rest all day and night." After hearing this, he Tian ran home without doing any fancy stretching exercises. She only had one idea in her mind, and that was to go home early. Big Elm Lane is about 7 kilometers away from the train station. He Tian kept going all the way, and it only took 40 minutes to arrive. From time to time it overtook the bicycle in front, scaring the cyclist into thinking he had encountered a ghost. When we entered the alley, it was already past 10 o'clock. At this time, most of the surrounding residents were already asleep. He Tian was even more excited. He Tian is back again. But when she came back this time, there were many people living here. It was clean, and there were a few lights, which warmed people's hearts. It was not like the place she came back in her previous life, which was dilapidated, unpopular, and covered with moss everywhere. He Tian was walking in the familiar alley in her dream. Even though the road was a bit dark, He Tian could still accurately find her home. He Tian stretched out her hand and grabbed the two large copper rings on the heavy wooden door, and banged it on the door a few times, ba bang bang. After a while, the lights in the room turned on, and a familiar voice from He Tian's dream came. "Who is it?" He Tian burst into tears and choked up and said, "Mom, it's me." Even though they hadn't seen each other for only 4 months, He Tian burst into tears when she heard her mother's voice. "Ah!" Wang Shuping screamed, "Jingyu, come out quickly, Tian is back." Clang clang, there were several sounds of things knocking over in the house. Wang Shuping ran over to open the door and saw that it was indeed her daughter outside the door. She hugged her and said, "My daughter." When Jingyu saw his daughter, his eyes were red. He turned his head and whispered, "Be quiet. If others hear your crying in the middle of the night, they will think something happened." Even though Jingyu reminded her, he still woke up the Huo family next door. "Shuping, why are you crying?" Huo Yingjia's mother Zhang Lifang, wearing clothes, walked into the yard and asked across the wall. "It's Tian Tian who is back," Wang Shuping replied. When Huo Yingji's parents heard this, they quickly put on their clothes and came to ask about the situation. It wasn't a festival, so why did he Tian Tian come back? Did something happen? When the Huo family arrived, He Jingyu and Wang Shuping were crying while holding their daughter. Huo's mother Zhang Lifang stepped forward and advised, "Shuping, you and your wife should stop crying. The child must be tired and hungry when he comes home in the middle of the night. Hurry up and make something to eat for the child." Monthly tickets of 320 plus are given, and there will be 340 plus extra chapters at 12 o'clock. Please give monthly tickets and subscribe to the genuine version. Asterisk carat. Carat asterisk, hee. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 98. Chapter 98. The Style of a Daughter-in-Law from a Rich Family, monthly ticket 340 plus. Wang Shuping then remembered that her daughter had just returned home and was tired and hungry after riding for such a long time. She blamed herself for not thinking of this and needed someone else to remind her. Yes, Tian Tian hasn't eaten yet. Wang Shuping quickly wiped her tears and went to the kitchen. Stop standing in the yard and go into the house quickly. Tian Tian, please tell me carefully what happened and asked you to come back at this time. Huo Jekan said, something must not happen to this daughter-in-law, otherwise his family's that stupid guy is probably going crazy. Tian Tian, come into the house, don't be afraid, speak slowly. He Jingyu wiped his tears and pulled He Tian Tian in. Zhang Lifang brought a basin of water to He Tian Tian and said, Tian Tian, wash your face quickly and drink some water. He Tian Tian went to wash up and go to the bathroom. He Jingyu and Huo Jekan smoked silently, feeling very worried. He Tian Tian was tired and hungry after a long journey, and they couldn't let He Tian Tian say what was going on first. Wang Shuping worked very quickly, making a bowl of noodles in 10 minutes, beating 2 eggs and some cabbage leaves. He Tian Tian smelled the noodles made by her mother. Regardless of the fact that the noodles were still very hot, she picked up the noodles with her chopsticks and put them in her mouth. There was a gust of wind and residual clouds, and a large bowl of egg noodles was finished. He Tian Tian wiped her mouth with a handkerchief, and when she saw 4 elders staring at her, she realized that she was embarrassed. She didn't look good eating just now, and her face turned red. She said embarrassedly, I ate a cake at noon. Hungry. Haha, it's good if you can eat it. Wang Shuping and Zhang Lifang have checked He Tian's body up and down. There are no scars or weight loss. She is also taller than before. He Jingyu waved to He Tian Tian and asked, Tian Tian, please tell me why you came back suddenly. During the Chinese New Year, young people who go to the countryside can have more than a month of vacation as long as they are willing to spare the money. Obviously, it's not the time for vacation yet, and the arrival of their daughter has left them confused. Seeing that her parents were worried, He Tian Tian explained the reason why she hurried back from Kijia village. Huo couple, He Jingyu and Wang Shuping heard this, their eyes widened. Someone actually wanted to frame their daughter. Those people went too far and actually wanted to frame our family. Tian Tian, Wang Shuping said excitedly, Tian Tian, have you offended that person? He Tian Tian looked at Huo Yingji's parents and said sheepishly, that person has a bad mind and is not a good person. In front of Huo Yingji's parents, He Tian Tian was embarrassed to say that Qi Jiangguo was attracted to her. But the people sitting here are all adults. A young man is embarrassing a beautiful woman? What else could it be because of? There is only one possibility, that is, He Tian Tian is attracted to He Tian Tian, and He Tian Tian is not happy, so he wants to do evil things. Then, have you suffered any loss? Wang Shuping asked with concern, worried that her daughter would suffer a loss in an unfamiliar place. He Tian Tian raised her cute little chin and said proudly, "Mom, don't worry, I'm fine. Although there are a few bad people in Kijia village in Daowen County, not everyone is a bad person. Look at this time, I was able to get the news in advance and secretly told me that someone helped me buy the nearest bus back to Nanchi, and the village party secretary Chi was a good person. He suggested that I come back on leave and ask the commune here to issue a certificate to prove that my parents have now obtained the unit. If I go back with the certificate, it will be fine." Village Chief Chi also suggested that it would be best to ask someone from the unit here to write a letter to the unit in Daowen County to explain the situation, just in case. Someone tipped He Tian Tian off, bought the train tickets, and gave He Tian Tian advice. This shows that He Tianation's situation in Kijia village is not as bad as imagined. He Jingyu, Wang Shuping, Huo Jekan, and Zhang Lifang were slightly relieved after hearing He Tianation's words, as long as they didn't suffer any loss. Among them, Huo Jekan is more interested in He Tianation's advantages of being neither humble nor overbearing, neither hasty nor slow from beginning to end. It is not easy for He Tian Tian to be able to do this at his age. "Jingyu, what Secretary Chi said is that early tomorrow morning, I will take you to Director Tang of the unit to get all the certificates and official letters so that Tian Tian can go back quickly." Huo Jekan suggested that the people over there have already started to pay attention to He Tian Tian. If He Tian Tian doesn't come back during the vacation, if someone pursues it, He Tian Tian will get into trouble. Zhang Lifang listened and said, "Don't worry, just say that Shuping is not in good health and Tian Tian went home to visit relatives. Tomorrow my work hospital will give Shuping a certificate of angina pectoris. How can we still prevent our children from fulfilling their filial piety? It's wrong for Shuping to pretend to be sick." Wang Shuping smiled and said nonchalantly, "As long as you can see your daughter, there's nothing wrong with pretending to be sick." "Then thank you brother Huo and sister Huo," He Jingyu said with thanks, "we will take care of Tianation's matter as soon as possible. It's already very pitiful for Tian Tian to leave his hometown alone. If our husband and wife are implicated because of this, I can't let it go anymore. Okay, it's getting late. It's hard for a little girl to ride in the car. Let Tian Tian rest early." Huo Jekan said goodbye and raised his wrist to look at his watch. It was almost 11 o'clock. "Brother Huo, sister-in-law Huo, go slowly." He Jingyu, Wang Shuping, and He Tian Tian got up to see the Huo couple off. For He Tianation's matter, the He family and the Huo family started a general mobilization to complete the task as quickly as possible. After the Huo couple returned home, they did not go to bed immediately. "Old Huo, have you noticed that Tianation's eyes are more beautiful than before when she comes back this time, but she is also more shrewd," Zhang Lifang said. In order to confirm her guess, she asked Huo Jekan who was lying next to her. "He Tian Tian is smart and Zhang Lifang is very happy that she will not suffer any loss outside. But he was too shrewd. Wouldn't it be that her stupid son would never be able to escape from his wife's clutches?" The thoughts of the future mother-in-law are so contradictory and complicated. Huo Jekan closed his eyes and rested, and said, "Yes, it is very rare for a little girl like her to be so calm when encountering such a thing. But it can also be seen that this girl Tian Tian has been eating alone in the countryside for the past few months. It takes less hardship and a lot of suffering to make such great progress. Hey," Zhang Lifang sighed, "it would have been nice if we had brought Tian Tian to the factory. We don't have to go so far, and we don't know when we can get it back. Our stupid young man can't forget Tian Tian all day long. Our family, my son is 18 years old and can't wait a few more years. Children and grandchildren will have their own blessings. Why do you think so much about it? Who knows what will happen in the future, just live well now." Huo Jekan said, "It's getting late, hurry up and rest." Even if she has a grandson a few years later, Huo Jekan still hopes that He Tian Tian will be her daughter-in-law. In the past, He Tian Tian was well-behaved, cute, and considerate. The two little guys were childhood sweethearts and knew everything about them. Now he likes He Tian Tian because he sees in He Tian Tian the demeanor of a daughter-in-law of a rich family. In the future, whether his son pursues an official career or works in a national enterprise, He Tian Tian can become his son's good wife. The old saying that a good wife and husband will bring less trouble to a family is not just lip service. Monthly passes for 340 plus will be given away, and there will be monthly passes for 360 plus at 2 p.m. I'm begging for votes. Monthly tickets are doubled for the last 2 days. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 99. Chapter 99. The crisis is resolved inexplicably, 360 plus. After He Tian Tian returned to the house, she couldn't sleep anymore. She walked around in her room, looking here and touching there. Tian Tian, go to bed early and don't walk around. Wang Shuping reminded He Tian Tian outside to let her rest early to avoid exhaustion. He Tian Tian obeyed and lay down on her single bed, feeling comfortable all over. It was better to be at home, it was so comfortable. The golden nest and silver nest are not as good as her own kennel. She is a little reluctant to leave her kennel. I fell asleep in a daze, and when I woke up the next day, it was already 10 o'clock in the morning. Wang Shuping returned to work last month. Because of the arrival of her daughter, today she asked her husband to take the sick leave note issued by Zhang Lifang to the factory to ask for leave. Because her daughter got up late, Wang Shuping made a simple breakfast and ate it. At noon, Wang Shuping prepared a sumptuous meal for her daughter. There are also a few dried wild rabbits in the Snake King's boundary space. They are put in a small sack and let the Snake King throw them out. Even in the city, you may not be able to eat more than 10 kilograms of meat a year. This half sack weighs 15 or 6 kilograms in total. When he was in Kijia village before, He Tian Tian wanted to put it away and bring it back during the Chinese New Year. Since you came back early, take it out early for your parents to eat. Mom, there is delicious food here. You can cook it for lunch. He Tian Tian brought the sack to the kitchen and placed it next to her mother. Huh, where did the sack come from? Did you bring it? Why didn't you see it yesterday? He Tian Tian smiled, I threw it in the yard yesterday. It was dark and you didn't notice it? I was very excited last night and forgot about it. Oh, Wang Shuping had no doubts. She was very excited when she saw her daughter come back yesterday. She only had eyes for her daughter and did not pay attention to these small things. Seeing that her mother had no suspicion, He Tian Tian was relieved. Wang Shuping opened the sack and saw 5 dried rabbits and 2 pheasants inside. She was surprised and asked, Tian Tian, where did you get these dried rabbits and pheasants? Seeing her mother's surprised look, He Tian Tian said proudly, I was in charge of the grass-cutting work of the livestock team in Kijia village. I often went up the mountain to cut grass, so I learned how to dig traps and set traps, and I actually caught a lot of people. I hid these secretly and brought them back during the Chinese New Year. I came back early this time and I didn't know if I would be able to go home again during the Chinese New Year, so I brought them back to replenish your health. Was this really caught by you? Wang Shuping couldn't believe it. In the past, when she saw caterpillars in the yard, her daughter would scream in fright and turn pale, but now she can actually hunt. Yes, otherwise where would it come from? He Tian Tian said, extremely grateful to the Snake King. She has no worries about eating and drinking. Wang Shuping felt very conflicted at one moment when she was happy that her daughter was doing well, and at the next she lamented that her daughter was suffering. All of this stemmed from her mother's love for her. He Tian Tian felt sweet in her heart and was not impatient at all. She started stewing rabbit meat with potatoes together with her mother. One rabbit stewed a large pot, enough for a family of 3. Thinking of Huo Jekan, He Jingyu went to the commune together. Maybe they would come over for lunch. Wang Shuping fried a large plate of cabbage. Mom, what did you go through after I left? He Tian Tian asked, how did you get through the difficulties? Now that my daughter is older, I can no longer hide lies from my daughter. The provincial government sent personnel to conduct a re-examination, and those of us who found nothing in our homes were released. 2 months ago, your father resumed work, researching new peach varieties. A month ago, I also resumed work. Now that things are getting better at home, you don't have to worry about home when you are outside. Wang Shuping said happily, neither in a hurry nor in a hurry. Although it had passed, He Tian could still hear the helplessness and fear from her mother's tone. Director Yang from the unit, He Tian frowned. Is he the person nicknamed Yang Big Head? Yes, Wang Shuping nodded. You know him too. More than just acquaintance. The Yang Big Head in the previous life was very majestic. During the entire special period, he has been firmly in his position in Nanxi's work unit, and he is also a well-known figure in Nanxi, making all the changes. However, after the reform and opening up, people who had been persecuted before came out to resume their work. Yang Datu, who had offended many people before, became miserable. It seemed that he had been accused of rape and was imprisoned. I don't know what happened next. I used to have a classmate named Yang Susu. I heard from Lu Lingli that Yang Susu's father was the director of the commune and had a very big head. He Tian explained that since Lu Lingli was not here, he didn't have to worry about cheating. What puzzled He Tian was that Yang Datu was dismissed, 7 or 8 years earlier than before. Oh, that big head named Yang is not a good guy. If he knows someone has good stuff, he will arrest them. Even if someone gives him something, he will not spare it, and the torture will be even worse. If he doesn't give it to him, he won't spare it. He has been doing random things. Fortunately, God is wise, and there are still people who know about his crimes. Wang Shuping gritted her teeth and said, fearing to scare her daughter, but it's okay now, the new director Tang was promoted by your father, Uncle Huo. I came up. I worked hard and tried every case. Now there are no unjust, false, or wrong cases. There is a lot of peace. But you, Uncle Tang, are also very powerful. Not to mention, you really caught a few traitors who collaborated with the enemy. Of course it's not what you said, Wang Shuping explained. The little fat boy who lives a street away from our house is the little fat boy who often pulled your pigtails when you were a child. Ah! Little fatty, He Tian was surprised. Then how is their family doing now? Of course he was arrested. As for where he was imprisoned, I don't know, Wang Shuping whispered. Don't talk about this outside, otherwise it will come out of your mouth. He Tian covered her mouth and promised again and again that she would not forget what she said. Except that the bad guy Yang Big Head was finished early, even the little fat man's family was different from the previous life. All crises were resolved inexplicably. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 100. In the previous life, the little fat man's father was also in a key position in the department. It was not until the end of the special period that everyone knew that the little fat man had an uncle in the new country. The little fat man's father was doing well in the country because of his uncle's investment, and his position was rising steadily. The little fat man was almost as famous as Huo Yingjia. However, the little fat man's father was said to have jumped off the building in the 1990s, and no one knew why. The mother also said that confidential documents, telegrams, and the like were found in the home of the little fat man, and it was estimated that the crime was true. He Tian heard about 2 major events after just 1 day back. She always felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't tell what was going on for a while. She always felt that the complicated and dangerous things that were originally complicated and dangerous had been solved before she had time to deal with them. He Tian was afraid. If it was the trajectory of the previous life, she knew it in her mind and could find a way to avoid it. But now it is different from the previous life. He Tian is at a loss and doesn't know what to do to deal with the unexpected dangers in the future. He Tian helped to light the fire, and Wang Shuping cooked and fry vegetables. Just as the meal was ready, He Jingyu and Huo Jekan came back together. Seeing the two of them come in, talking and laughing, Wang Shufang breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that the matter should be done. Is it done? Wang Shuping hurriedly asked her husband He Jingyu. If it wasn't done, she would have been worried. He Jingyu was in a good mood. It turned out that he had someone above him to help him. With Huo Jekin's help, Director Tang of the unit was very happy. He wrote the certificate very quickly, stamped the official seal, and personally wrote an official letter to Hawaii City, and asked it to be sent to Daowen County. In this way, even if someone made trouble for Tian Tian, they would be relieved because of the certificate and official letter. It's done. Tian Tian won't suffer anymore, He Jingyu said. This is the proof. As for the official letter, it was sent to Hawaii City and can't be kept in the hands of individuals. But Director Tang has a relationship with the unit in Hawaii City. It is said that the two are classmates and were sent to the lower level together. He came to Nan City and his classmate went to Hawaii City. Wang Shuping heard this and put her hands together. She was excited. Hey, I can finally rest assured. My Tian Tian won't suffer anymore. Sister-in-law, what's cooking in the kitchen? It smells so good. I want to have a couple of drinks. Wei Jekin sniffed and smelled the smell of meat. These days, materials are in short supply and everyone is short of meat. Shuping, I still have half a caddy of wine at home, take it out quickly, let me and Lao Huo have a drink. If Lao Huo hadn't come with me today, it wouldn't have been so smooth. He Jingyu waved at He Tian Tian and said with a smile, Tian Tian, come and thank Uncle Huo Jin. He Tian Tian thanked, thank you, Uncle Huo. You're welcome, Uncle Huo waved his hand and said carelessly, we are all family, family. He Jingyu and Wang Shuping have always been happy to see their daughter and Huo Yingji's affairs, and so are the Huo family couple. Only He Tian Tian blushed and felt embarrassed when she heard Huo Jekin's words. In her previous life, she didn't end up with Huo Yingji, and perhaps the four parents on both sides were also very sad. Seeing He Tian Tian blushing, He Jingyu and Huo Jekin laughed. Wang Shuping took the rabbit meat that had been stewing in the pot and put it on the table, saying, Tian Tian, pour some wine for your dad, Uncle Huo. He Tian Tian took out half a bottle of wine from her father's collection from the cabinet, poured it into a small wine cup, and said, Dad, Uncle Huo, drink. Shuping, does the Supply and Marketing Cooperative have dried rabbits today? This is very rare, it has never happened before, and it is not easy to have some fresh meat. No, this is what Tian Tian brought from Kijia village, and she said she learned to set traps and catch them herself. Wang Shuping smiled, I don't believe it at all, but Tian Tian in our family never tells lies, so I have to believe it. Tian Tian, tell us in front of your dad and Uncle Huo. Huo Jekin was stunned and asked, these are all caught by Tian Tian? Tian Tian, you have to tell us, are you not able to eat enough in Kijia village? He Jingyu thought so in his heart, otherwise, how could such a well-behaved and timid daughter secretly run to the mountains to hunt? They must have been forced to do it. Seeing her parents' nervous look, He Tian Tian smiled and said, Dad, Mom, Uncle Huo, except for Chi Jiangguo's family, everyone else in Kijia village is very good. I am not living in the place arranged for city people in the village, but in the home of an old lady in Kijia village. Her son was studying and working in Nanji before the founding of the People's Republic of China. But after the founding of the People's Republic of China, there was no news. She was a very good old lady who often gave me advice and taught me some worldly ways. I was responsible for mowing grass in the animal husbandry team and often went up the mountain. I was very lucky. I used the method I learned from others and set a few traps to catch wild rabbits and pheasants. Is this true? He Jingyu was half believing and half doubting. His daughter's words made sense, but he still didn't believe it. The mother-in-law his daughter mentioned recognized his daughter as her goddaughter. He and his wife agreed, which was not surprising. What they couldn't believe was that He Tian Tian had changed so much in just 4 months. Of course it's true. Your daughter is so smart, of course she can learn anything, he Tian said proudly, and you have to believe that your daughter is great and she will never lie. Haha, Wei Jekan patted his friend He Jingyu on the shoulder. Old He, the environment can change a person. Human potential is unlimited. If our ancestors didn't think about making tools and using fire, maybe we would still be a group of wild monkeys. Well, there are no humans anymore. Everything is possible, the key is to learn, think, and create. Oops, I didn't see it, but Uncle Huo turned out to be a good expert at making chicken soup. Uncle Huo is amazing, he speaks so well, he Tian praised. Daring to think and do is the main theme of this era. If you have the conditions, you have to go up, and if you don't have the conditions, you have to go up. Okay, let's just believe it, He Jingyu smiled, stroking his daughter's soft hair with a loving look on his face. He Tian obediently let her father touch her head without avoiding it. She was very close to her father. When Huo Jekan arrived at the side, he saw the interaction between He Jingyu and his daughter and said with bitter teeth, "It's better to have a daughter and kiss her father. My brat, since he became sensible, he won't let me touch his head. Whenever he speaks, if you want to talk back to me, you are just a debt collector." Haha, a daughter is as good as a daughter, and a son is as good as a son. Each has its own merits. I also hope that Tian is a son, so that we don't have to worry about suffering when we go outside, He Jingyu said with emotion. His daughter is considerate, and he is not patriarchal. However, since his daughter was alone in other places, he was worried that her daughter would suffer a loss. Monthly passes 380 plus. 5 updates, please vote, please vote. If there is a ticket, it will be updated and it will never be in arrears. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 101. This time when my daughter was prosecuted, it was because she was attracted by her beauty. If her daughter didn't obey, she started to take revenge on her. If it were before, He Tian would be afraid, but now that she has the Snake King, she is not afraid at all. It's okay, the universe is the greatest. As long as I do my job well, Kijia village is not a place where just one person can say anything. I will protect myself, so don't worry, He Tian comforted her, hoping to comfort her. Father. Hey, I hope so, you will be fine, He Jingyu said happily. His daughter has grown up and become sensible. It's just that his daughter's growth was not taught by him, which made him feel disappointed as a father. I will, Dad, He Tian promised, pouring wine for Uncle Huo and He Jingyu. Drink, drink. Come on, Lao He, let's have a drink. Huo Jekan picked up the wine glass and took a sip. He had wanted to drink it for a long time, but there was no suitable food to go with the wine before, and drinking was boring. Today, there is wine, meat, and vegetables, so you have to enjoy it. In the evening, Zhang Lifang came back from the hospital, and the two families had dinner together again. But this time it was at Huo's house, and He Tian provided rabbit meat. Wang Shuping was also generous and directly gave Zhang Lifang 2 dried wild rabbits and pheasants. Zhang Lifang was too embarrassed to accept it, but Wang Shuping persuaded her husband and wife to accept it. Hey, we have such good food at home, Yingjia doesn't know if we can have it at work, her mother was worried. When Zhang Lifang saw He Tian coming back, she thought of her son. When I eat delicious food, I just want my son to eat it too. He Tian was embarrassed, and suddenly felt that she was heartless. Huo Yingjia gave her food stamps and money, but she didn't think of sending anything to Huo Yingjia. I know it now, but it's gone in the barrier space and I can't send it. We can only go back to Kijia village and see if we can get some more and send them to Huo Yingjia. What's there? I have 2 more. Send them to Yingzhi and let him eat some. After all, he is a young man and will get hungry easily as he grows older. Wang Shuping had already regarded Huo Yingzhi as her future son-in-law. She only has one daughter, and the son-in-law will be no different from half a son in the future. In the future, he will have to provide for the couple until they die. It is natural to treat Huo Yingzhi well. How can this work? You have already given me two. I will keep one and send a rabbit and a dried chicken to Yingzhi. Zhang Lifang said inside, her face was hot. What she just said was not at all the idea of asking Wang Shuping again, was just a habitual sigh. Wang Shuping smiled and said, you send it to you, and I'll send it to me, so don't refuse. When Zhang Lifang saw what Wang Shuping said, she couldn't continue to refuse. She smiled and said, actually, these are not gifts from us, but from Tian Tian. The two middle-aged gossip women looked at each other and smiled. When Tian Tian saw the two of them like this, her face became hot and she stomped back to the house like a little daughter. Last night, Tian Tian returned to her familiar home. She was very excited and barely slept. She didn't take a lunch break during the day. Today, she felt very sleepy and lay down to sleep. The next day, Zhang Lifang gave Tian Tian a rabbit and $1 to send it to the post office. Wang Shuping took out a dried chicken from the cellar, quickly wrapped it in oil paper, and wrapped it with a clean cloth. Tian Tian, your Aunt Zhang has to go to work. I'm on sick leave now and can't go out. You took it to the post office and mailed it, Wang Shuping said with a smile. She had something at home. She naturally hoped that her daughter and Huo Yingzhi could keep in touch, even if they were far apart. Can also have a good relationship. Wang Shuping took advantage of her free time to find a piece of dark blue fabric at home and make clothes for Grandma Chi-san. They had already recognized Grandma Chi-san and the etiquette could not be broken. Tianation's face turned red with embarrassment. She went to the house to get a letter she had written before going to bed last night, put it in the package, and then took the package to the distant mail. Because when mailing, you have to check the contents of the package. Almost everyone knew her at the nearby post office, and she didn't want to explain the origin of these wild rabbit and pheasant meat. It cost 35 cents to mail a package, which was not expensive. Tian Tian brought the remaining 65 cents back and wanted to return it to Zhang Lifang. Although the relationship between the two families is very good, they are not a family after all, and Tian Tian cannot accept the remaining money. When Tian Tian went out, everyone nearby knew that Tian Tian was back. Not long after I got home, someone came to my door. After asking for her identity, Tian Tian found out that the visitor was Lu Lingli's mother. Tian Tian, Lingli's letter also talked about you. He said that you two are very close and can see each other often, Lu Lingli's mother said with a smile, very polite. Lu Lingli was assigned to the Hujia village next door. Although it was not far away, she never looked for Tian Tian, as if Tian Tian would harm her. When she was working on the river last time, she saw Lu Lingli from a distance and deliberately hid. Looking at her. Yes, we are very close, Tian nodded. Auntie, are you okay? Tian Tian knew the reason why Lu Lingli kept a distance from her. Wasn't it because he was afraid that she would ask for help? After all, Tian Tian is very thin and doesn't look like a person who can work, so he might be worried that she will be involved. However, Tian Tian was grateful for Lu Lingli's notification of her parents in her previous life. Otherwise, she would not have known about her parents' death, and she would not have known how long she would have to stay in the funeral parlor. It's like this. I went home in a hurry and didn't bring any winter clothes. I originally wanted to send them over, but when I saw you coming, I wanted you to send them over to save the family some money, Mother Lu said sheepishly. There are many children in the family, and life is too poor. It's better to save whatever you can. Okay, I also need to bring something. Please take less. If it's too much, I won't be able to carry it. Tian Tian nodded, which was a favor to Lu Lingli from his previous life. Thank you very much, Mother Lu said. When will you go back? I will prepare the things and deliver them to you. Although He Tiantian wanted to stay at home for a few more days, she just felt bad about Qi Jiangguo and felt uneasy. I'll take the train at 10 o'clock the day after tomorrow, He Tiantian replied. After Liu's mother left, Wang Shuping frowned and said, "Why did you agree to her? That person just loves to take advantage. Even if you say that you can't take so many things, she won't listen. She will definitely do it when the time comes, a big package. It's okay, I'm strong. They're all from the same place, and I'm embarrassed not to take them with you," He Tiantian said. It was just to repay the favor, it was nothing. Hey, you left again the day after tomorrow. I don't know when we will meet next time, Wang Shuping said. You must be fine alone in Kijia village. I will bring you back when the situation is better. This time we don't have time to go there, so I made a dress for you to give to your godmother. Well, don't worry, I will take care of myself. Grandma Qi will be very happy when she receives the clothes. She is a smart and strong old man, and a lonely old man. He Tiantian nodded obediently. She must have been very happy in recent years. It doesn't work. This is also our intention, Wang Shuping smiled softly. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 102. After returning this time, He Tiantian found that the situation was better than she had imagined. She didn't have to worry about her parents for the time being, and she had the energy to fight back against Qi Jiangguo with all her heart. He Jingyu was worried that the official seal of the commune was not enough, so he went to the street unit to stamp it, etc., and opened several certificates. He Jingyu couldn't be around to protect his daughter, so he treated these things as amulets for his daughter, and tried to get as many as possible. Time passed quickly, and it was time for He Tiantian to leave tomorrow. Huo Jekan booked a sleeper for He Tiantian, so He Tiantian could have the energy to talk with her parents all night, tell them about the future, and let them be extra careful, maintain an optimistic attitude, and wait for the light to appear. As Wang Shuping said, Lu Lingli's mother actually got a big package that was half a person's height and could not be held with both arms. She said, "Tiantian, thank you for your hard work." Before He Tiantian said anything, Zhang Lifang was unhappy and said, "This elder sister, look at Tianatian's small body and her own things. Can she carry so many things of yours?" Liu's mother's face, which was originally smiling, was unhappy when she heard Zhang Lifang's voice. She said, "These are all things my daughter needs in winter. Not one more. Isn't it just a gift? Why is it so stingy?" Zhang Lifang became even angrier when she heard Lu Lingli's mother say this. "These are things your daughter needs. You moved them here by yourself, and you were so tired that you were out of breath. We are here to send them, but there is only Tiantian over there. How can she carry such heavy things? Or did you send a telegram and ask your daughter to come and pick them up?" Zhang Lifang said angrily, "Please bring some more down, or you can go to the post office to mail them. We can't carry so much. She has enough money for the telegram to mail them, so why come here to waste her breath and ask for help? He Tiantian has the help of the Snake King, but she also has to carry them for a distance. Although she can carry them, she doesn't want to indulge some people's bad habits. But these are all things that our Lingli is used to. It's cold today, and she has no clothes to wear. It's pitiful." Lu Lingli's mother didn't mention mailing at all. The telegram required fees. She just pretended to be pitiful here, saying how pitiful her daughter was, and didn't think about how pitiful He Tiantian was carrying so many things on the road. In this era, there are no trolley cases or suitcases that can be pushed or pulled. All things have to be carried on the back. "Sister, you'd better take some down quickly. My Tiantian can't carry so much. Your children are children, and our children are not animals," Wang Shuping said unhappily. "If you don't take it down, forget it." You can go to the post office and send as much as you can. They won't be tired. Tian Tian is not very strong, and she has her own things to take. Anyway, we can't take so much. Lu Lingli's mother saw Zhang Lifang and Wang Shuping said so. Tian Tian lowered her head and said nothing. She could only say embarrassedly, okay, then bring 2 cotton coats for Lingli, 2 sets of cotton coats and cotton pants, although not very heavy, but take up space. These things are necessary, and Tian Tian can't refuse. Lu Lingli's mother was very unhappy and left with a fierce face. You shouldn't have stopped me just now. Look, that dead fish face, brought things to her family, and brought revenge. If I had known, I shouldn't have brought things to her. Zhang Lifang said indignantly, how could there be such people in the world, too shameless. Forget it, we are all poor. Wang Shuping said indifferently, it's winter over there, and 2 sets of cotton clothes are enough to wear. We have helped. As for whether they appreciate it, we don't care. Tian Tian picked up the package and tried it. It was estimated to be 15 or 16 pounds. Together with Tianation's own package, it was estimated to be 40 or 50 pounds. Huo Jekan had something to do today and didn't come to see Tian Tian off. Zhang Lifang worked the night shift and was free during the day. She came to the train station with Wang Liping and He Jingyu to see Tian Tian off. Every time I go home, I am happy, and every time I leave, I am very sad. I can only comfort myself that this time's parting sadness is for the joy of the next reunion. Tian Tian waved goodbye to her parents and Zhang Lifang through the train window, pretending to be strong and smiling. But as the train gradually left the station, the speed became faster and faster, and the figures of her parents became smaller and more blurred. Tian Tian couldn't hold back her tears anymore and kept flowing down. Don't cry, don't cry. The current situation is much better than in the previous life. Tian Tian wiped away her tears, her eyes red, and climbed to her own berth in the middle of the berth, and slept. It seemed that only in this way could she temporarily forget the pain of separation. It was not until 5 or 6 in the afternoon that Tian Tian got up to eat the oil cakes made by her mother. Others were chatting, but Tian Tian was in a bad mood and didn't want to talk. She only nodded and shook her head to express her feelings when others approached her. The more you talk, the more mistakes you make, and the less you talk, the better. The train was late and arrived in Daowen County, 2 hours later than last time, and it was almost 2 o'clock. Tian Tian only knew Niu Daijin in the county, but Niu Daijin was a postman, and he was probably out delivering letters, so he might not be in the county now. In addition to Niu Daijin, there was only Niu Daijin's cousin Niu Lily. If Niu Lily hadn't heard the news this time, Tian Tian wouldn't have known it in advance. This time, her mother prepared a few boxes of cakes from Xinggualu in Nanxi to thank Niu Lily, and maybe Niu Lily could find someone to send her back to Kijia village. Tian Tian walked to Daowen restaurant to find Niu Lily. It's past dinner time and Niu Lily is dozing off at the counter. Sister Lily, Tian Tian shouted softly, fearing to scare Niu Lily who was sleeping. Niu Lily opened her eyes and saw Tian Tian. She greeted him enthusiastically and said, "It turns out to be Tian Tian. You came back from your hometown so soon. You haven't had lunch yet. I'll treat you to a bowl of noodles." Tian Tian said quickly, "I have food stamps, I don't need Sister Lily to invite me." Niu Lily got the dried wild rabbit from Niu Daijin, and she was very fond of Tian Tian. Treating Tian Tian to a bowl of noodles that cost 2 cents was nothing. "Okay, if you keep talking, you're cheating on me. You sit down and have a rest, and I'll go to the kitchen and say something." Niu Lily asked Tian Tian to sit down, and she went to the back to make arrangements. After a while, Niu Lily brought over a bowl of vegetable and chicken noodle soup and said, "You are hungry, eat quickly. You have brought so many things, and you can't walk dozens of miles by yourself. Just wait, I'll go see me is my cousin at the post office. If not, I will find someone else to send it to you. Thank you, Sister Lily. He Tian was moved. In fact, there are still many good people in the world. From now on, she will hunt more rabbits in the mountains and give them pheasants as a thank you.